Annyeonghaseyo, welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Leah, Megan, and Amy, three American romance novelists discussing all things K-romance from a writer's lens. We fangirl over our favorite actors and actresses, talk up our trope addictions, and nerd out on K-drama deep dives. We'll throw in a few K-pop and K-skincare recs for good measure, because why not ride the Hallyu wave all the way to shore? So grab some tteokbokki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi there.
So, yeah, it's another Wednesday here in Afternoona Land, and I'm excited to have everyone together. I feel like we're kind of still like in that, somebody might be dropping out because of a vacation type of thing. I think we're kind of like leveled out. I think like the gang's all back for the most part at this point moving forward.
My kids went back to school today. First day, it was kind of amazing. I mean, like I said, I love my kids, but...
I was gonna say, are you a crier on the first day?
No, but we were all ready. Like, I feel like my kids were ready. Like, we were all ready, and...
Yeah, you went back late.
Yeah, and so I went to a coffee shop today and had the best word count day in a very long time, and it felt really good. Put me in a good mood.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
I know, it's wild that August 24th is now late. But anyway, I think our listeners are tired of us talking about school and weather. I feel like our school weather and vacuums are banned for the rest of the day. So do you know what we are going to talk about? Oh,
tacos.
I don't even want to look at your vacuum. So we're going to talk about tacos. And that's not a euphemism.
Let's put this in context.
Yeah, context. Okay, so on Instagram, I mentioned last week that I went camping, and I took a picture of a campfire, and in my hand was a Doritos bag. And I wrote on Instagram, my Instagram story, I wrote, a walking taco in front of a campfire. Like, it doesn't get better than this. And Leah wrote to me, and she's like...
I had questions.
Yeah, she's like, what's a walking taco? And I was like, a walking taco? You've never heard of a walking taco? And like, I don't know if I'm like sheltered that I just
sometimes
thought
I feel like
everyone
you're
knew.
like, you're a bougie bitch. And I'm like, you live in a place where all your food sounds crazy. Yeah. And you have Sheets and Wawa where you get food. So I was like, this is just a weird Pennsylvania thing that you
right.
eat.
And I thought everyone knew what a walking taco is. Like I said, it's literally on my kid's school menu. Like it'll say they're having walking tacos next week. It's on the school menu.
So basically, I then in our Slack was like, Amy, get a load of this like weird ass Pennsylvania phenomenon. And Amy's like, well, I know what a walking taco is. My kids have had walking tacos.
I've never had one. Yeah, so I'm
fair.
I'm sort of in the middle here. Like my kids have had them. I've never had one. Nor do I crave
aware
one.
Of them. No, yeah.
I am aware of them. Yeah.
I just had never heard of dumping taco fixings into a Dorito bag. And then do you eat it with a fork?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for school lunch, they're just like throwing out Dorito bags full of taco meat.
So yes, I mean, let me say first, there's like an art to it. You gotta before you open the Doritos, you gotta crunch them up. Okay, you gotta like squeeze it
so that you can lift them in a fork.
Right, because if they can't like have a whole Doritos.
So you're eating like
you want them to
She's not
be
making nachos. You're not making nachos. This is like taco salad.
Yeah, so you. Well, I mean, little, and then you put taco meat in, and then you put any fixings you want. And I always do like salsa, sour cream, cheese, and lettuce. And then you're like eating, and I'm telling you,
shake the bag.
I don't, because I like to like see where all my stuff is, so I can get like a little bit in every bite. Oh my God. But it's like I do crave walking tacos. Like we have it some nights for dinner. Like that's what we have. I just make a big thing of taco meat, and we all have walking tacos.
And do you walk around while you eat them?
I mean, we don't. The thing is,
you just sit at the table and you're each holding a bag of Doritos, eating out of it.
Well, it's like crazy because, like I went to like
a bag on the plate. Like here's your dinner.
Yeah,
plate,
I
do. Got a bag.
I'm like,
so
here's a bag on a plate.
Do the kids just get a tray, and then on their tray is a Dorito bag?
You know what? I have to ask them. I don't know if it's like self-serve or I don't actually know that. I actually do need to ask them, but it is definitely a walking taco, and they said they get like the little Dorito bags.
Okay. Yeah. Then they must just give it to them on the tray.
Yeah, and they have it like I was at a high school soccer game last fall, and that's what they had in the concession stand. They had walking tacos. It was at our pool last summer. The concession stand had walking tacos. And if you go to like a food truck, like a Mexican food truck, half the time, well, it's probably white people, but they're serving walking tacos.
I don't think this is like authentic Mexican
from
fare.
the old country.
Listen, if it's like a white person in a taco truck, they're giving walking tacos.
Okay, so just a couple more questions, and then I've got some more questions. Okay, so when you're saying the taco meat, are you using like old El Paso?
Well, I mean, I like cook the meat with like taco seasoning. Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's like it's a very white person dish.
Okay. So now that we cleared that up.
Yeah.
It's Frito pie, and it originated like in the Southwest, supposedly, at like a Woolworths in like Texas or New Mexico or something. I don't remember now. Mm-hmm. But like, and then as it moved east in the Southwest, it was just a bag of Fritos. And as it moved further
but
east,
wasn't it with chili? You said
it was chili. Yeah, it was chili. It was like chili and
so it
Cheeto
sounds
pie.
like a Tex-Mex. So it was like a Tex-Mex something.
Yes, but then it got to like the East Coast, and they're like, we're gonna do tacos and Doritos. So.
And it's so good.
As this came up and you were like, well, I know about it too, I was like, okay, well, maybe this is a Midwest thing, but like, I still look, I know I moved out of the Midwest when I was like 10 or 11, but I still go back somewhat enough that I would like have seen them around. So I took it to my family text chat, because we have like I have a text chat with my like parents and siblings, and I'm like, does anyone know what a walking taco is? And my brother like finally is like, is there a punchline? And I'm like, no, it's literally a thing. And I'm like, I've got friends in the Midwest that have it. One's in Illinois and one's in Pennsylvania. Then my sister just writes back, Pennsylvania is not even the Midwest. And that made me laugh too, because that's like a whole other like controversial, like where does that demarcation end? And is it like, because Erie is the Midwest. But by the time you get to Philadelphia, I think you're East Coast. So like, I don't know like where that...
I think in PA we consider ourselves East Coast, but I don't know.
East Coast.
West PA is a whole other country.
In Erie, Pennsylvania, are you like, I'm on the East Coast? I don't think you are. You're in the Rust Belt, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, PA is a big state, and we are very different in different parts of the state.
There's no coast in PA.
No, but we consider ourselves East Coast because we're close.
Yeah, I
to the
mean,
coast.
it's as close.
Look, Michigan is on East Coast time.
This is true. I also don't think that you're going to find walking tacos in the summer in rural Michigan, which is I go back to the Midwest all the time. Like, you're not like having like a school lunch situation there. You know what I mean? Like, which is where I think they show up the most.
Okay, so we have spent a lot of time with this, and we were debating and talking ourselves in circles of like, who is is it just that you're weird or I'm uneducated? No. And so we took it to socials, and we took it to more than one.
Yeah.
So I posted on Instagram, and Megan, what did you do?
I posted on Twitter, and then in my Facebook reader group, which has like 1,000 people in it.
Okay. Oh, 1,000 people reader group.
Right, because I wanted like a big, what's the word?
Sample.
Thank you. Sample size.
So yeah, then we did Twitter and we did Instagram. So I will say Instagram and Twitter were pretty close.
Yeah.
I was right.
Yeah, it was no one knows what a walking taco is. It was like
78% of folks don't know what's a walking taco.
Yeah. Yeah. And
22% were like, no, I know.
And on Twitter it was 80% did not know. And my reader group was a little bit better. That was like 40% knew and 50% didn't, which I know that doesn't line up, but like there are some people that put in other options. And one person was like, is this something dirty? Because I write, like, she thought it was like a sex position.
Yeah, that's what I think. My brother was like, a walking taco. Where's the punchline?
I know. I was like, no, I swear to God. I know that I write alien romance, but I swear to God, this is innocent, okay?
No, this is what Megan did. Megan's like, look, I just really like to eat it, okay? I like to get in there and see every little bit and eat it all the way down, and it's
I
not
do.
dirty at all. My walking
Leah's
taco.
making it dirty.
Oh.
Leah's making your taco
Megan's
dirty.
sitting there in a
I like to explain it. She's like, I do. I like to eat my
I was
taco.
actually thinking about how I get all the last bits of Doritos. That's what I was like imagining.
and then I take my tongue.
Do you
and I
pour
like
the
to do a little
bag?
Twist.
Are you pouring the bag when you're
Oh,
done?
you bet. You bet. I get every
At any
ounce.
point, do you suck it?
No. Shut up.
Do you get your hands a little like, and then you have to like lick your fingers?
Oh, stop it!
Like your Dorito dust?
Lick the walking tacos off your fingers. Anyway, so
Look, I
just in
love
case
them.
anyone was curious, that's what a walking taco is. And it's not even that regional because like there were some people on Instagram who said they knew what it was and they live in California. So it wasn't even like, oh, we're like state divided. It's like very specific, like if your community does walking tacos or not.
And look, all I'm saying is if you're listening, try the walking taco. I swear to God, it's good. Crunch up the Dorito bag, put the
Get that
taco
old
meat
El
in
Paso.
it. Just scoop out the taco meat, put in your fixings, whatever you like on a taco, and just eat it out of the bag with a fork.
Yeah, no, you eat that. Eat that walking taco.
I am going to say it appeals to me not in the slightest because
Oh my God, it's so good.
I do not want Doritos as my like tortilla in my taco. You know what I mean? Like I want like an authentic taco shell or
Well,
soft
this was the
taco
conversation because Megan's
Yeah.
like, well, it's convenient. And I was like, but can't you just put it in a tortilla and wrap it up? Because then you just walk around holding a tortilla.
But tacos are messy.
I know, but like the bag just contains everything. Yeah, tacos are messy. It's always the juice is going to leak out. And then you're going to get burrito juice on your shirt in public. You know, where
we
it's
put
all
ours
contained.
usually in like a bit of aluminum. So Tucker is here, you get it in aluminum or like aluminum foil, and then you just peel it as you eat. You peel it down,
I would still get that all over myself.
but you don't get your walking taco
No.
all over yourself.
Well, I did actually get a little bit.
I bet you do. Especially as you're dumping the bag on
I might have had 3 at that campfire that day. 3 walking tacos.
Were you like, I'm going to do Cool Ranch?
Right, and I know it sounds crazy that Doritos is like your base. It's got to be the nacho cheese. Like, don't do the Cool Ranch. It's got to be the nacho cheese. It's honestly a really a good base. I'm just
Okay, we've gone 12 minutes on walking taco, so I have a segue.
Okay.
Please.
And my
Okay, do
segue
it.
is
do it.
you can take a walking taco and get down and dirty with it.
Oh my God.
Just like you can with the young boys that we're going to be talking about.
Please say young men, young
Boys?
They're not.
Boys 1 and 2. That was not a fancy segue.
Let me do it again. That
Okay,
could be
okay.
a blooper. Okay.
We're like boys.
Walking tacos can make... Look, walking tacos are nasty. But there can be nasty bad and nasty good. And I'm going to talk about wanting to be nasty with...
The Wooga Squad.
Yeah. Is that a good
Questionable.
segue?
It's so questionable.
Questionable.
The men.
Thank
The
you
whole
for
men.
saying men. Christ
Yes.
almighty.
The strapping whole men of Wooga.
Who would
Who
not
are
be
way past
caught
puberty,
dead with a
thank you.
walking taco. That would be,
I think some of them would. I think they would like the walking taco.
I think they would freaking love the walking
yeah,
taco.
you might
and
be right. They love those steam buns. Like they kept going out for
I
those steam
wanna s-
buns. Yeah.
Yeah,
I want a steamed bun.
I think
I want to
Kim
try one of
Taehyung
those.
would be face in that bag,
Yeah.
up to his ears,
Okay.
getting the dust on his fingers. Okay, so
my God.
you know, Amy, why don't you just for those listening? Because look, not everyone at this point, if anyone's still listening. Can you just like let folks know? Because you either know or you don't.
Right.
Who's the Wooga Squad? What does Wooga mean? Like, what are we talking about?
Okay. So Wooga Squad is 5 Korean men. V, or Kim Taehyung,
Men.
26 years old, men. 26 years old, he is the youngest of the group. I don't think he needs much of an introduction. He's BTS's deep voice crooner who is both cool as fuck And a total goober with his sunbaes, as we got to see in the Soop.
Then there's Park Hyung-sik, actor and former idol. So Park Hyung-sik comes in at second youngest at 30. So actually, yeah, they're pretty old considering, where we've been. So you will know him from the K-pop group Zaya and dramas like Strong Woman, Do Bong Soo, The Heirs, and Happiness.
And then we have Choi Woo-shik at 32 years old. He killed in Parasite and Train to Busan. Actually, he killed some zombies in Train to Busan. And recently, we fell hard for him in Our Beloved Summer.
Then we have Peakboy, or Kwang Sung-hwan, a 33-year-old rapper, singer-songwriter, record producer, and high school mate of our groups Hyung, Sunbae / Ultimate Elder, Park Seo-joon.
And bringing it home, we have Park Seo-joon. So less than a year older than Peakboy, PSJ is the hot dad of the group and the one who brought them all together. K-Drama Land might soon lose him to the Marvel comic universe. But for now, he's best known for dramas like Fight for My Way, What's Wrong with Secretary Kim, and Itaewon Class.
It's Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh.
Oh
what did
my
I say?
God.
What did I call it?
You said comic. I thought that's what it was, too.
Oh my God. We're not even cutting and pasting. It's the same. Cinematic. I'm like, that's a bold claim. Anyway. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is Wooga and how did it happen? Park Seo-joon became friends with V and Hyung-sik on the set of the 2016 drama Hwarang. Later, he introduced them to two of his other close friends, Peakboy and Woo-shik, and the Wooga Squad was formed. According to Pink Villa, it was Taehyung who came up with the name. Based on explanation by V, Wooga Squad is the abbreviation for Wariga Gajak Inka, which translates to Are We Family? Aww.
I know.
They're so cute because they spend a lot of time together and are close-knit. See, he's a total goober for his youngs. But why, Afternoonas? Why are we talking about the Wooga Squad today? For that, we must defer to Leah. Leah, why are we here tonight?
Okay, so this is like a little bit of a winding road, but once upon a time, I was an obsessive K-drama fan whose preteen daughter, enjoyed K-pop and got COVID for her 11th birthday. So long story short, I felt bad for her and noticed that BTS was coming to Los Angeles and was like, we're in California. I'm going to get her tickets as kind of like an epic birthday present. And the joke was kind of on me because going to see that concert, and this is a Catholic metaphor, but I think it's applicable, it was much like Paul on the road to Damascus. So basically, for those of you who, didn't have to do catechism for a long time.
Please tell the Jews.
Paul was a Jew. He was a Pharisee. And he was, kind of like into persecuting like the early Christian movement and claimed to have been struck temporarily blind on the road to Damascus by a vision of Jesus. There's a lot that goes into this later that we're not going to get into, but it's pretty wild. Basically, Paul believed that special Jesus only talked to him. But I was stricken in this concert by Min Yoon-gi, aka Suga, who like owned the stage, plus all the other members, including Wooga Squad's Kim Taehyung, or V, who is not only Zoolander level really good looking, but is also super charismatic and a goober and an eccentric weirdo. And so from that day, I descended into the madness known as ARMY, but I couldn't help realize that V had besties outside of the group. And they were all people that, we mentioned. And I was like, they're a squad with like an official name. And it's like V and Park Seo-joon and Choi Woo-shik and Park Hyung-sik and Peakboy, who I'll be honest, I didn't even know and was like, okay. He was kind of like the Aunt Peggy, if you get my Hamilton reference. And I was worried that they were some kind of like 80s brat pack. But whenever I saw clips of them interacting, it felt really adorable. And they would do things like, they're all famous. So they'll be like at awards and they'll end up like giving each other awards just like by coincidence and things like that. So I was pretty curious because there is a popular BTS reality TV series called In the Soop, which means like in the forest. And I saw it was getting a Wooga Squad makeover. And that curiosity turned to lustful excitement after I plunged headfirst into Itaewon Class recently and just went in like like a walking taco, like Megan to a walking taco on Park Seo-joon, which is like I was taking that bag and just like dumping it on my face. And, you know, Amy got hyped, and Megan's never not a fan of Park Seo-joon, plus loves Woo-shik and Hyung-sik, and so here we are. So yes, I might have been the one who drove the clown car, but you're all in it with me now.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right, Megan and Amy. You knew the group members individually before now, but were you aware of the Wooga Squad as a squad before given tonight's assignment?
So I was vaguely aware just because I knew about the drama like Hwarang, and I've like heard Wooga Squad being talked about in reference to that drama, but I wasn't sure of all the members. To be honest, all I like knew about the Wooga Squad was I knew that picture of them where it's just like their eyes in the water. I think it's kind of a pretty famous like Wooga Squad photo. And then I remember seeing clips of them jump roping like as a group, and Park Seo-joon takes off his shirt, and then Park Hyung-sik like can't be outdone, so he takes off his shirt, and I'm like, is this what the Wooga Squad is about? Like, okay. Okay. But yeah, so that's all I knew, but they ended up being, it's obviously much deeper than them just like taking off their shirts, and it was really lovely.
Yeah, they're whole people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I didn't know anything about the squad until Leah told me, but I thought they were just friends and were like doing this In the Soop Friendcation thing. And it was in my own like Park Seo-joon and Kim Taehyung mania on Instagram that I found a clip of PSJ carrying V on the set of Hwarang. And I sent it to Leah and was like, they're in a drama together? And she was like, yes, Amy, yes, they are. Welcome to the rabbit hole, as I decided that I had to watch it. So, as mentioned earlier, Wooga Squad was born from the experience of Park Seo-joon, Park Hyung-sik, and V starring in Hwarang together. And now the whole five-guy crew just appeared in BTS's reality show, In the Soop. So tonight we decided to show our appreciation for our Hubei's because, yes, they are all Hubei's to us. But that says nothing of our increasingly decreasing thirst trap age floors. Anyway, we are here tonight to go back to the initial squad members' meet cute on the set of Hwarang and to look at their friendship today. The assignment? Watch In the Soop Friendcation wherever we can find it, along with the first episode, or for Amy, the first 6 episodes of Hwarang. But before we spoil the first episode of the drama, or the 4 short episodes of Friendcation, let's pretend Wooga is a K-pop group. Who is your bias?
This question is so rude because this is the thing, is I like all of them individually for different things. Like there'd be like one where I was like, oh, he'd be really fun to drink with. And then another would be like, he'd be really fun to do like activities with. And Park Seo-joon would be like the one I would call if I'm having like a crisis. You know what I mean?
One.
Like there's,
you can pick one.
I know. So I will say like my eyes kept straying to Park Hyung-sik because he's like a Disney prince who sings like an angel. Like I really fell for him hard in Happiness. I just really love him. But, you know, Park Seo-joon will always be the one I love the most. He's like the big brother of the Wooga Squad, and I just love how he like compliments the members. Like, so I gotta say he's my bias, and Park Hyung-sik is my wrecker.
Fair enough.
Yeah, this is a very hard and mean question. And I am going to be arm wrestling both of you, I think, for Park Seo-joon as my bias. I mean, look, the guy's special. He's a great actor. He looks like it's a whole situation. He has the big dad energy. And it's the kind of energy that's a bit like Hopper from Stranger Things.
Yes.
It kind of just makes my fallopian tubes rewire and little like awooga wooga eyes. See what I did there? Come out of
Good
me.
one.
Thank you. And my bias wrecker is Kim Taehyung. And actually, it's not even lust, actually. I mean, like, I'm in lust with the other 4 for sure. I'm never really in lust for Kim Taehyung, but I think he is one of the most amazing looking humans alive. It's just that I appreciate so much that he is a giant weirdo. I think he is really funny, and he marches to his own little drummer, and I just would love to keep him in my pocket and feed him delicious things.
Yeah, look, if this question came before I watched Itaewon Class, I probably would have said V, because he was already my BTS bias, although he is currently being wrecked by Jin. But I started watching after I met Park Seo-joon as Park Seo-woo, and now it's time to arm wrestle, because he is it. Forever and always.
A three-way arm wrestle.
I mean, look, he is man enough to be the bias of many.
He is. Agree.
He's a whole man.
So I have another mean question. In Hwarang, Park Seo-joon and Park Hyung-sik play opposite points of a love triangle with Go A-ra. If you had to pick 2 Wooga Squad members to be the opposing points of your love triangles, who would it be and why?
I mean, duh. Park Hyung-sik and Park Seo-joon. Like, put me in that Park sandwich. With gochujang.
Oh my god, and it's just like put some dusting of Cool Ranch. Walking taco.
No, nacho cheese.
You dump them in a bag.
Nacho cheese, sorry.
Dump them in a bag of Doritos.
Put them in my walking taco and mix that up.
Okay. So, look, this is also hard. But I'm going to try out a little wild card here because I think the idea is appealing. So I'm selecting Peakboy and Choi Woo-shik, and here's why. Peakboy is built like a frickin' redwood tree, and it makes me want to be a squirrel. He also really loves dumplings, and I love dumplings. He's musical. I like music. He has excellent taste in glasses. I like glasses. And honestly, he looks like he's made out of husband material. And then we have Choi Woo-shik, who is like very adorable, very observant, highly verbal, and pretty sassy. And I feel like he's the kind of guy you could like stay up all night talking to and be like startled that the sun has come up. And you know I adore painful love triangles, and I think this one would devastate me in the best of ways.
I like it.
Yeah, that is a complicated love triangle.
Yep, I like it a lot. So look, I love Taehyung, but I mean, he's 26. He's a BB. And I really just want to make sure he's happy and eating well. Peakboy is a sweetheart, and I'm definitely a new fan. And Park Hyung-sik is a Disney prince who sings like an angel. And while I'd love for him to love me, and because I want to be contrary and not have us all pick the same people, I'm going to go with the no-brainer, which is Park Seo-joon and Choi Woo-shik. Choi Woo-shik wants to change his rep as the cute rom-com guy to something more, so come show me something more, Woo-shik. And PSJ, just show me anything you want. I'm here for you now and forever.
That was like sexy, like Amy.
It was. I was going to say, I'd look at his toes.
We're not staying up all night talking.
Yeah, you're not doing like Beyond Sunrise or what is it?
I mean, I was the one, I think I was the only one who, I mean, he's a cute little sweetheart in Our Beloved Summer, but like one of our questions in our script was, do you find him bettable? And I did. And I want him to know that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening, slow clap.
One of the things that rings true about the Friendcation episodes is how different each of the 5 Woogas are and how well they complement each other's personalities. We all knew each other first online for months or maybe even a year or two before we met at different romance writers conferences. And now it's been about a decade since, and our little Wooga Squad, because I do think of my little Hubays as family, is still going strong. So, if we're going to compare us with the actual Wooga Squad, which Wooga Squad member do you think your other 2 Noonas are most like, and why?
So I think Leah is Choi Woo-shik. I mean, I just honestly think they're pretty close to the same person. I think they're both like quirky. I think they know like random facts that most people wouldn't know. I think they both can make sometimes like dad jokes with like weird puns. And I just like, honestly, like I just picture them so similar. Like sometimes even when I was watching Wooga Squad, I'm like, Choi Woo-shik is so Leah. Like it's just so funny. And I mean it obviously in an endearing way because they're both endearing. And Amy is definitely Park Seo-joon. And not just because she's our leader and like, you know, like the oldest, just like Park Seo-joon, but like, you know, like Park Seo-joon just like had really, he was almost like a mentor. And I do feel like if I come to Amy with like, I don't know, an issue or I'm frustrated about something, she always seems to like know the right words to say. And I appreciate that. So, well, I mean, you both do, but I just am saying that I think that that is definitely like Amy's role. So
No, you said it was me. It's me. So it's me.
and I just feel like Park Seo-joon was like gonna get stuff done. Like he's like, okay, we need to eat, so like let's freaking eat. Whereas like everyone else just like blah blah blah, and like that would be Amy. It'd be like, okay, we're gonna get this done now. Okay, we're gonna execute the plan. So
Right, you guys come up with the good ideas, but I make sure that we actually
carry them
execute
out.
I like that. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
I also voted for Amy as Park Seo-joon, and not just because she looks amazing with her shirt off. It was also because, you know, she is the grown-up.
She is the grown-up.
But she's also like the emotional anchor. I felt like they both kind of hit that nicely. You know, everyone else can kind of be like tethered to the anchor a bit. And of course, she always needs to have a plan. I feel like PSJ is very type A, and so is our Amy.
This is not untrue.
And then Megan is Kim Taehyung because she's the tiniest.
100%.
Not that, again, yeah. But I also feel like she's the most emotional in a good way. She loves naps and snacks. And I would say
Walking tacos.
I would vote you most likely to cry drunk.
Yeah, those are all accurate. Like those, you summed
And
me
you have
up.
good hair and makeup. And so does Kim Taehyung.
He does.
So I love that I'm Park Seo-joon, but I think that since you both voted for me as him, that I no longer have to arm wrestle you for him. He's just mine. Okay?
What about opposites attracting?
I know. So Megan is V, even though he's not truly tiny. Like, I think he's 5'10", but compared to all the other guys, he just seems like the sweet little baby, like the sweet, you know, little brother. And that's how I think of Megan, my sweet little hubei. Like, ever since I met her, she has been identified in my phone as Mini CP, which means Mini Critique
I
Partner.
forgot about that. That's funny.
Yes. And you're just like my you know, my little mini sunbae that I want to take care of. And
Yeah.
there you go.
Put you in our pocket
So
and
it's-
feed delicious
Right,
nachos.
put you in my pocket and feed you some saltines and stuff like that. Or peanut butter crackers.
I know,
Peanut
walking
butter
taco.
crackers,
Walking taco. A whole, just snacks.
Yeah.
So I totally agree that Leah is like a unique personality. But for me, I went with Peakboy for that.
I think that fits.
He's kind of the outlier of the group, being a musician, but not like an idol like V or Park Hyung-sik, and he's not an actor. And I'm not saying, Leah, that you're like an outlier, but I think you're the most unique friend that I have. Like, I feel like every time I talk to you, I learn something new that makes me wonder just how varied a life experience you've had, like, compared to me. Like, finding out that your husband is half Canadian, that you lived in Germany for a couple of years, that you've never heard of a walking taco. Like, there's always something that surprises me. Like, that you'll just, like, bring up matter of fact. They'd be like, whoa, wait, you lived in Germany for 2 years? Like, when did this happen?
I actually never lived in Germany, but I'm glad you thought I did.
Where did you live? You lived somewhere.
Italy.
Italy. Oh, sorry. Italy. See, I forgot. Italy. That's even
It's
more.
okay.
That's even more exotic.
I agree.
think.
I feel like Peakboy would be the one who comes out and he's like, oh yeah, I totally like lived abroad for 3 years and I, you know, summited Mount Everest or something. And you'd be like, what? Like, when did you do that? That's definitely would be like a Peakboy moment. I actually agree
I'll
with that.
take it. He's got great glasses.
I love
He does.
Peakboy. He was like really a surprise for me because he was, again, super endearing, really fun. Like, he's the type of guy where I'd be like, let's go do karaoke together. You'd be so fun.
So speaking of Peakboy, it's time for the K-pop rec of the week. And Leah, what's it going to be this week?
All right, so our rec of the week this week is going to be Peakboy, and going with Gyopo hairstyle. And Megan, you said that means basically like a foreigner hairstyle.
I think it does because I saw it referenced before, but yeah, I think it means like a living abroad hairstyle.
So the video is really fun. All the Wooga Squad's in it. We've got Kim Taehyung as kind of a disdainful waiter, mostly doing his tata mic face though. If you're Army, you know what tata mic is. And it's like, yeah, purple tux and a fufu drink. We have Hyung-sik in some sort of like matching denim in a restaurant. We have Park Seo-joon as kind of like a hapless intern type at like a music station. We have Woo-shik taking photos like a fashion photographer. Is that everyone? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, they all make like quirky appearances, and it's a really fun video, and Peakboy just has a good sense of humor, and so he's just kind of owning it the whole time. I feel like he actually gives off like baby Psy vibes.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Like he's not as over the top and dancing, but
the song feels very Psy too.
Yeah, I felt like that. Yeah, it just feels like a fun like Psy comp. So if you're a fan of Psy, you're gonna like Peakboy, I think. So yeah, that song is Gyopo Hairstyle by Peakboy. If you enjoy our podcast, you have our patrons to thank, at least in part. Afternoona Delight Patreon allows us to keep creating content for y'all to enjoy. Thank you so much to everyone who is supporting us there. And not to brag, but our Patreon community is pretty awesome, and you can join at a tier that feels good to you. Gain access to fun perks like K-drama posts, monthly Patreon-only bonus podcasts, and even a live K-drama support group on Zoom. Because we know firsthand what it's like to have no one to talk to about those crazy plot twists, amazing characters, and all those feelings. And look, no one should have to walk that walk alone. So learn more by visiting afternoonadelight.com. That's www.afternoonadelight.com. And hey, while you're on the website, you can check out Afternoona Delight podcast merch, find links to book recommendations, bop along to our K-pop recs, glow up your skin with K-merch recs, find all of our social media, and a link to our email so you can send us recommendations or feedback. And hey, while you're at it, why don't you pop over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review? It really helps with our discoverability. 감사합니다. Okay, well, let's dive in first to Friendcation, and then we can discuss our impressions based on episode 1 of Hwarang. So don't worry if you haven't watched Friendcation. There's no plot, and there's nothing really to spoil. But it's good. So the joy of watching these 4 hours of content is simply getting to see how much our men love each other and love hanging out together. But if you want to watch In the Soop Friendcation with fresh eyes, then skip ahead to our bit about Hwarang, which is, we only watched episode 1, basically, to just like get anchored and see kind of like the origin stories of like how half of them met. So if you're ready, here we go.
What's on DisneyPlus.com describes Friendcation like this. In the show, we will get a closer look at the 5 celebrity friends as they embark on a surprise trip to the South Korean country to unwind together. What do you think? Accurate? Does anything else happen?
I mean, really nothing happened, but then also kind of so much happened, and that's the beauty of it. I thought listening to them sit around a fire and talk would be boring, but instead I was like glued to the screen. You know, I mentioned to the other Noonas that my husband gets together with his college friends once a year. They go on like a trip, and I mean, they always drink. They always go out to bars and drink, and they usually rent like a Airbnb. And my husband said that last year there was just a drunken, rousing argument about HOAs. Which are, for anyone not sure, they're homeowner associations. You know, I'm not going to get into it, but it was just, that's what they talk about.
I would not be glued to the screen.
I know. That. And then it's so funny because I watched the Wooga Squad and they're just like talking about like their goals and their dreams, and they're just so fucking wholesome. And it was just, you know, no HOA in sight. It was lovely.
Yeah. So I would say like my comp is that it's a lot like In the Soop, which makes sense because it's In the Soop, just without BTS in it, except for V. So I like this format, though, a lot for a variety show because it's really just mostly cameras embedded in spaces. Like, I'm sure that house was just like cameras everywhere, but really that's like the premise of it. There's not as many like folks on the ground like recording. So eventually you get the sense that, you know, the people you're watching, be it BTS or Wooga Squad, just kind of forget about the cameras a little bit and settle into these natural rhythms. And that's how you kind of get that like vibe that's a little bit like season 1 Real World, like back from MTV days.
Oh, yeah.
Like that goodness that's reality TV crack. And that's like kind of like the reality TV like thing that I chase. And I think I mentioned that a bit when we did like our Singles Inferno pod, is I like that kind of like voyeuristic, just watching folks like cooking dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, of course, they probably didn't let loose as much as they would if they were totally alone. But I think you really got the sense of real sincerity And nothing happens per se, but like Megan said, so much happens because it's life. And it's just these like simple, sweet interactions that just kind of remind us how like humans want to seek comfort and connection with each other. And it's fun watching sometimes like people who are really, really famous doing that, because I can remember like first going to writer conferences as like a newbie writer. And I would see these people whose like books I'd read, and some of them were like super famous, some weren't, but were like famous to me because I liked their books so much. And it was just wild to me that it was like, oh, there they are just like having a drink or like going to the bathroom or walking down the hallway at the hotel or riding the elevator. I'm like, they're just like me. And so then like all of a sudden you start to realize that like, oh yeah, they're just like me because they're just a person and I'm a person. And somehow that's just like a nice thing sometimes to be reminded about.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I agree. Nothing happened, yet I feel like I know these 5 guys better than any Western performer I've ever seen on any sort of reality TV. And I could watch these 5 do nothing for days.
So did you have any preconceived notions of what any of the squad members would be like off screen, or like, you know, still on screen, but in this reality show type setting based on their more fictional on screen or on stage personalities? And did what you thought going into Friendcation track with what you actually watched on screen?
So I feel like I didn't necessarily have a lot of knowledge about what any of these men were like, sort of outside of their like celebrity personas, but I just have, I guess assumptions like we all do. So I guess I thought V was maybe going to be a bit of a diva and like kind of an attention grabber. Like I thought he'd want to be the one who gets the attention. He'd talk a lot or he'd make a lot of jokes. And instead he was just this like sort of quiet, sweet younger brother who just wanted to really connect with like his Hyungs. Like that's it. It was actually really sweet. And he was much more emotionally available than I thought. I mean, I know that the one night where he cried, it probably had a little bit to do with the fact that he drank, but he still was pretty open. It was kind of cute. He got like uncomfortable when they praised him. He was like, I don't want to be like the topic. Like, he's like a global superstar. He's arguably, one of the most famous not arguably. I mean, he's in one of the most famous.
He hit 50 million followers faster on Instagram than any other living person.
Yeah. So, I mean, and he was like, he didn't want the attention to be about him. You could tell he didn't, and he was almost a little uncomfortable. And, I guess Friendcation made me see him in a new light and really respect him so much more. Choi Woo-shik really did surprise me because he's really funnier than I thought. Like, he was really funny.
He was.
When they did that ice skating and he had this like whole like routine he did out of nowhere, like just pulled it out of his ass, and it was just he just seems so fun to hang out with. I loved his little quirks, like when he was eating the bun and he had to like dump out some of the red bean. He's like, but the bean to bread ratio wasn't right, and I was like, oh my god, he's just like us. Like, that's so me, where I need like my bread to like jam ratio to be appropriate. And I actually expected Park Hyung-sik to be a bit more outgoing and also maybe a little bit more like V, like he'd want the attention on him. But really, he was really quiet, he was kind, and he just wanted to like hang out and like laugh at their jokes. And I thought it meant a lot too that I don't know what he was filming when this was going on. I wonder if it was happiness. But I thought it was,
It was in January. It was like January like 5th to 9th or something they did. Because
That
they were
might
able
have
to
been
piece back when
happiness.
they had like their restaurant.
Maybe it wasn't I'm not sure. But either way, he came late and had to leave early and was like studying his script, but he still wanted to like show up for his friends. And I thought it was, I really enjoyed getting to know all the men in this setting.
Yeah, I definitely thought Park Seo-joon was going to be the leader, and he was.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't surprising. But I thought V was going to be kind of too cool for school.
Yes!
And like not show us too much.
Yeah, that's a good explanation. Yeah, or description.
This has to be because I think you guys haven't watched a lot of BTS content, so that makes sense.
Correct.
that you'd
Well,
be
no, I haven't
surprised.
watched any BTS content.
Yeah,
until I got COVID, I wasn't watching any BTS
Yeah.
content. Okay. So no, Leah, I have not.
Sorry, Leah, we are not.
Thanks for actuallying me about Kim Taehyung.
She's mansplaining Kim Taehyung to you.
We're talking about our preconceived notions. I am not in the rabbit hole yet.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. Anyway,
Actually.
he was not too cool for school. He was vulnerable and a little sweetheart who I wanted to hug.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Park Hyung-sik was an idol, but I'd never heard him sing. Like, I'd never listened to Zaya. And I don't know if I believed in heaven before watching Friendcation, but when they did the karaoke and he and V did a duet, I'm pretty sure that I saw the white light and I was ready to walk toward it if it meant hearing his voice for eternity.
Yes.
I mean, Woo-shik, I didn't expect him to be, like, kind of critical of himself as being thought of as, like, the rom-com hero or as cute. Like, he, you know, like, being critical of his reputation, and, you know, he wants people to know that he's, like, capable of more, which I'm like, y'all need to, like, watch him in Parasite. Like, he can do so much. Like, if you are just thinking of him as, like, the cute guy from Our Beloved Summer. And I didn't know anything about Peakboy before this, and now I absolutely adore him.
Agreed. Peakboy is really fun. I like him a lot. He seems like a really nice friend.
Yes. Like when they were playing the game the first night and V kept beating him and he was like, letting him flick him in the head for winning and stuff like that. Like, he's such a good sport.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, I didn't expect them all to be as non-toxic as they were. And the fact that there was, like, zero ick factor. So either they don't have, like, the ick factor where, you know, like, sometimes when you see, like, you know, bros get together, it's a little ick. So they either don't have it, didn't exhibit it, or someone just edited the shit out of it. So I like to think they just don't have it. Let me just, like, have that. And I didn't realize that Peakboy and Park Seo-joon had been besties since middle school, or that Park Seo-joon had brought Woo-shik into, like, their little friend group back in 2012, or that he was the one who adopted Hyung-sik and V from Hwarang. So, you know, I've earned basically a PhD in BTS in the last year. So I did know that Taehyung was not a diva. Actually, he's not a diva. Although, look, I honestly thought he was a diva when I first saw him, too. I mean, look at him. He looks like a fucking diva. I mean, he is a diva. It's just, like, not what you would... It's hard to explain.
It's not like a toxic
diva. A diva. Like, yeah, I mean, like, he can turn on the diva. Maybe that's what it is. But, like, that's not who he really is. He can just,
like, we weren't seeing him as V. We were just seeing him as Taehyung in this. Which,
agreed.
Yeah.
You know, was nice.
And it was fun to see him, like, in this different light. And for me, having watched more than what's healthy in, like, BTS content, it was fun to watch Wooga really make him, like, their baby. Because in BTS, like, he's the second youngest, but he's just, like, not the baby. He's more like the eccentric space cadet. And so, yeah, it was fun to watch him, like, getting, like, babied and be very, like, everyone, like, being, like, making a fuss over him. Because, like, that's, in BTS, he's mostly just, like, saying random shit. And he honestly, like, even though he's not stoned, he looks like he's, like, high as a kite half the time. And just, like, saying crazy things. And it's fun. I didn't expect Hyung-sik to be so quiet and hang in the background the most. Like, that was just a big shock.
He did.
Like, I don't know if I expected him to be, like, center stage, but he was just so quiet and, like, but, like, always present.
Mm-hmm.
I did expect Park Seo-joon to be more of the silent dad type and Woo-shik to talk a lot. So that checked out for me. Peakboy, I didn't expect to drool over quite as much as I did. And here we are. And look, I also spent some time, like, a couple months ago watching a very boring reality show, which featured Choi Woo-shik. And it was called something like The Village, and it was set in Jeju. He spends a long time making the worst doghouse that's ever existed. It was actually embarrassing to watch, and it made it really relatable, because I'm like, if I made a doghouse, it would look like that. But he spent the whole time on that show talking about his weak bowels. It's imprinted on my brain, because he talked about his weak bowels, like, 100 times. And so I expected really to get into his bowels again for Friendcation, but there was nary a bowel reference to be had.
Yeah, I was waiting for it too, because I remember you talked about it. I was like, where's your talk about your bowels?
I mean, he was clearly going through it on Jeju.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did not get bowel talk. I'm okay with that. So the friends do everything together, from fishing to karaoke to ice skating to watching Woo-shik find his HEA in Our Beloved Summer. What was a favorite moment that sticks out for you?
So I really loved their fishing trip. It was really endearing when they all shared their, like, motion sickness, you know, medication. So I just went on a whale watching tour off the coast of Maine, and thankfully my best friend was like, here, you gotta take the Dramamine, like, an hour before the trip. She's like, if you take it, you know, while you're already sick, it's too late. And I was like, oh, okay. And, like, thank God I did, because the water was rough. Like, it when the boat was rocking in the Wooga Squad.
Can you imagine Megan's stories if she had to climb the mountain and then got seasick?
Yeah, and then got seasick. Because in the Wooga Squad, like, they were like, I mean, and same, like, you had to hold on to something at all times. It was rough. I mean, at one point, like, we were kind of like in the front area of the boat where there were a bunch of seats behind us. And at one point I looked back and I swear to God, it looked like a massacre or like a zombie apocalypse. There were people like laying down, like passed out, holding puke bags. It was pretty bad. And I loved so it was a fishing trip when they went on this boat, and it was so funny because they caught a lot of fish and they were like, wait a minute, is this a scam? Like, Park Seo-joon asked if it was a scam, and it made me laugh so hard because, like, that just sounds like something that he would say. Like, he'd be like, why am I catching so many fish? Like, this is weird. Like, I shouldn't be catching this many fish. And it reminded me, we tried to book a moose tour in New Hampshire, and the brochure said that I swear to God, the brochure said you were 97% guaranteed to see a moose. And we laughed really hard because we were like, okay, yeah, they'll just like, we'll like drive around a lot, and then they'll just like end the tour showing us this like moose tied up in a pen, and they're like, there, you saw your frickin' moose. So yeah, I just really love that trip. It felt like relatable. Like, everything they did just felt like normal, relatable, and, you know, I loved it.
I think that would be super hilarious if the moose tour people like had a sense of humor and were like 100% guaranteed you'll see a moose.
It's just a moose tied to a pole in like the middle of a forest.
The saddest moose ever.
Saddest moose ever.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
I know.
And the fishing was so funny. Like, I do wonder if they had like a cage right below sea level that was just filled with halibut.
Why are there so many
divers
halibut?
just like putting it on the...
They were like all the same size. I was like, what? It was a little weird.
I really love them watching our beloved summer together because A, it's fucking adorable, and B, it turned into this discussion about their goals, how they feel about their careers, and Park Seo-joon being like the sweetest Hyung encouraging Peakboy and explaining that it's like not a race or a competition and that everyone will have their time to bloom. Like, it was this beautiful talk.
Oh God, but kill me.
Oh, so much. And then, like, this is what I mean about nothing happening. Or like what Megan said, nothing happening, but it's everything. Mm-hmm. Something as simple as watching a drama turned into this like really heartfelt conversation. Just like with us, something as simple as watching a drama turned into a podcast that's been going on
and walking
for
tacos.
a year and a half.
And we've had
walking tacos.
And we've had several therapy sessions like while recording.
Yes.
So
definitely. I feel like this is my therapy in many ways.
Me too.
So, look, I liked watching their ice skating, you know.
It was so funny.
Wooshik just, like, busting out, like, yeah, his Dorothy Hamill, whatever. And I remember, like, once watching, I am just actually BTS, I'm so sorry. But I remember watching V once doing, like, roller skating. And let's just say, like, he hasn't super improved. A little, but not a lot. But they were just so much fun. And I thought, like, it was an activity that was a really good capstone for their last evening. And I watched this through the lens of being a kid whose mom had like Olympic aspirations for her. Like, I think like the 84 it must have been like the 84 Winter Olympics would have been winter. I don't know. Anyway, I was little and there were Winter Olympics and my mom was like, maybe you'll be an Olympian. So she put me into ice skating class and I never graduated from using a traffic cone to skate around the ice rink. And last November, I went to Bend, Oregon to see my sister, and I still needed the cone. I just was bent over like I was on a walker. And so watching it, I also appreciated their commitment to PPE because they had helmets and knee pads, which is something we did not get, and I could have used them. And I just loved that, of course, Park Seo-joon was just great at skating. Like, of course he was.
Yep.
I feel like their contracts were like, all right, fine, you can go frickin' ice skating, but you gotta wear, like, all this shit. And you know who also was really good? Like, Park Hyung-sik. Like, that guy just seems good at everything.
Yes.
It's, like, annoying.
Yeah. Anybody who might, you know, not have been well actually by Leah and still thinks that V is a diva would not have put himself on camera ice skating like he did.
Oh, he looked like a goober, and I loved it so much. He was just like,
it was so cute.
When he like kind of did that little like weird stepping, like he didn't care what he looked like.
It was so cute.
No, he doesn't care.
Then who did he have? Was it which one of them like to give him a push so that he could go? Was it Woo-shik who gave him a little push?
Like feel what it was like to like go fast. Oh God.
Okay, grown men having a sleepover and wearing matching pajamas, hot or not?
Yeah, it was super precious and wholesome. I'm gonna say hot in the sense that it was great to see like just non-toxicity, just like grown men wearing matching clothes, hugging each other, you know, recording each other snoring, and then arguing over who it was. It just was so cute.
It was adorable. Yeah. I totally dug it. It was super cute.
Yeah, I thought it was just like men having joy and doing self-care, which is really healing. And like Park Seo-joon, watching him put on like his sheet mask and cuddle Taehyung, like, look, I feel like the patriarchy hurts men differently than it hurts women and non-binary folks, but like it really does hurt men. And it made me just thrilled to see nurturing friendships and co-sleeping and physical touch being normalized.
Yeah, I love that.
Agreed.
That's awesome.
Agreed.
Grown men swimming in a small pool together with only one, Park Seo-joon, swimming with his shirt off. Does this make up for zero skin in Itaewon class?
I mean, I guess somewhat. You know, I did love that he was like, whatever, guys, I'm wearing no shirt and like tiny shorts, and Peakboy was in a full wetsuit.
And this was an indoor pool. Can we just say this was an indoor pool?
And like a tiny,
why are you wearing that?
indoor pool that I'm sure was heated because it was winter.
Like why? Who even owns one for like no reason? It was so funny.
It was really funny. Like I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like that's what I don't get. But also like shirt off, sure, that was great. But I think, you know, what also helped with the lack of skin in Itaewon class was also the scene where Park Seo-joon was showing Peakboy how to use his like workout stuff, like doing push-ups and like, you know, using his workout bands and whatever. That was hot.
And for me, look, it did not make up for it. And still wagging the finger to Itaewon class. Like, you're paying the Park Seo-joon money. Get the full Park Seo-joon experience.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, there should have been a montage where, like, you know, he's working in his restaurant, and then he goes to the back, and he's just, like, taking his rage out, shirtless, on, like, a punching bag.
I'm telling you, I wanted a scene where, like, Yiso walked in on him showering. Like, that's all I wanted. I'm sorry. I thought that was perfect, and I would have included that if I wrote the script.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even get him shirtless in prison doing shit. Like, come on. Mm-mm. Anyway, wag of the finger.
At least we got An Bo-hyun. At least someone wrote one scene with a female gaze. One freaking scene.
All right. In one episode, the squad watches, like we said, some of our beloved summer together, and Woo-shik seems totally at ease, like just watching himself on screen.
Ugh.
To me, it's my biggest nightmare. Like, I equate it like with an actual experience that I had, which I'm grateful for this experience, but also I was squirming. So some of my former colleagues who I used to teach English with, when one of my books released, they had like a release party for me at a restaurant. We had like the, you know, a private room or whatever, but they had like games set that they were going to play. And one of the games was like reading random sections of the book aloud and like sex scenes, like sexy stuff a lot. And these are like grown men, like who were like my mentors, like when I was started teaching. And I was
creepy,
I was dying. I wanted to crawl out of my skin. I felt like super exposed. Like, this is my work. I'm super exposed and I'm watching people react to it in real time. So do you lean more towards Woo-shik and being cool with watching everyone react to your creation? Or do you want to bury your head in the sand like an ostrich? Like me.
Yeah, like, I still haven't matured past that point. Like, just, I want to bury my head. If, like, you know me as me, especially, like, some of my college friends who have known me as long as they have, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm reading your book now. I'm like, I can you just not tell me? Like, just do it quietly, okay? Just read it quietly. Let me pretend like you've never cracked the spine.
I'm okay if people read it. Just don't read it out loud to me.
Well, yeah, that's rough. That is absolutely my worst nightmare. I'm just not over it yet.
I don't know. that I'm probably Woo-shik in this. So I don't really mind if anyone wants to tell me they read my book. I guess if they wanted to read it. It might be weird, though, in that power dynamic that you described, Amy, which is like older male colleagues maybe reading my work would feel maybe...
It wasn't just them, though. It was like female colleagues, too, but that was the weird part for me. Okay. Yeah.
But look, I mean, if people want to read my books, like, I've had, like, my husband's friends read my books and want to talk to me about it. I'm like, look, I'm totally fine. If people want to praise me away. Don't, you know, if you don't like it, I don't mind reading my reviews online anymore. If they're negative, positive, whatever. But, like, if people say nice things to me, I think my thing is that I just never really believe it. So that's probably why I need therapy. So I don't mind it. It's just if somebody's like, oh, I really liked it, I'll be like, uh-huh. No, you probably did, but that's okay. And like, so.
Thanks for lying to my face. Yeah, I get it.
So the squad had some deep conversation in their late night hours, either sitting by the fire or lying in bed with the lights off. They talked about how special their few days are together, how they didn't know when they might all be together again. And they talked about their definitions of happiness in their lives and in their work. Woo-shik mentioned how he gets a lot of acting work, but he wants to fall in love with it again. And, you know, Taehyung got teary-eyed, and sure, he might have drank a little bit, but he shared that he hadn't been truly happy in the past year. We even get Park Seo-joon sharing his encouragement to Peakboy and how fame and success isn't a race and everyone has their moments. Basically, it was just men being authentic and vulnerable in front of other men. And does this feel like something unique to see in a reality TV setting?
So first of all, a thought just occurred to me. I would love something like this with Korean female celebrities.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, my God. Like Sun Ye-jin with maybe like a younger idol. Oh, my God. Can you imagine how amazing that would be?
Like get Jisoo in there. I would love it.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That'd be so amazing. I would love to hear what they talk about, you know? Anyway. So as far as the Wooga Squad, their honesty was really surprising to me and, you know, very relatable. I mean, they're global superstars. V is one of the most famous people in the entire world. And yet he said his last year was disappointing and he just wants to be happy. And that's not me judging. That's me saying, that's me realizing like he's a person. Like just because you're like famous, it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually have achieved, you know, all your goals or that you're happy. I mean, they did acknowledge later that they were drinking, but to me, alcohol is a truth serum. So, yeah, it was a reminder that celebrities are just people with their own personal goals and their own mental struggles, like the rest of us. And to be honest, you know, the Park Seo-joon talk to Peakboy really meant a lot to me. Like, I think I rewound it a couple times. So, because, you know, I've been having kind of like some come to Jesus moments with myself about my own career. You know, my kids are at the age where they are very busy with activities and COVID is no longer like restricting their schedules. And I also don't want to miss these times. Like they're really fun at this age and they're doing things and they want to do things with me. And, you know, I really have to be realistic about how much I'm able to write, you know, and how often I can release books. And I realize I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, some of my peers are going to surpass me. And, you know, I have to remember that it's not a race and I can go at my own pace and still like achieve what I want to achieve. And also that there are a lot of essentially like non-monetary victories. And I also have to remember that, you know, non-monetary victories in essence, you know, the things I do with my kids and my family. So Park Seo-joon's talk with Peakboy, which we mentioned earlier, just really, you know, meant a lot to me. And yeah, I rewound it and listened to it. And it definitely, you know, kind of settled something in my heart. So he's just a really great Odyssey.
Yeah, I keep going back to that talk too and how special I thought it was and how much that let us see like sort of into all of their personalities. And while I know that all reality TV has to be like slightly staged or edited to make good content, like we mentioned before, like this wasn't like camera guys in the house with them. Like cameras were just set. And when they were in a room, like wherever that camera was pointed, you know, that's what you saw. So I really feel like they were allowed to just be for a lot of it. And I think that's why they kept mentioning how great it was to all five be together. And, you know, like when would they get to do this again? It's because it was real and special to them and they are really friends. And it was so clear on screen. If these were just guys looking to boost their curated images, they never would have had the ice skating episode.
I was going to say, I just want to say, I agree with that. I think that it felt like they weren't doing it for work.
Right.
And look, just to give Amy some props, I've been watching Ted Lasso, which is fucking amazing television.
It's the happiest thing to me.
Like, I really just did not buy into it when he was talking about it. I'm like, this is great. Like, I love this journey for you. It is not my journey. But the other night, my husband
I'm like, when are you going to...
I need to watch it.
I told her, I'm like, when are you going to forget that I love Friends and just give me the benefit of the doubt that I know good television?
Yeah, basically.
Leah hates
so
Friends.
we were trying to watch the new Game of Thrones, and the night it came out, it like crashed. Like, so many people were trying to watch it that it kind of like crashed. And so
There's
I was
new
like,
Game
well,
of Thrones?
Yeah, it's gonna be the
prequel.
Yeah, it's the prequel. And so, I was like, well, I guess, like, let's watch something else. I'm like, there is, like, Ted Lasso. I mean, I know, like, I'm not going to, like, own it if it's not good, but I've heard it's good. And look, it's about masculine vulnerability. And, like, I feel as if it's therapy, and it's made me want to be a better human. And every time I watch it, I feel like I learned something about the human condition. And I feel as if it's made me... like, all the things we're talking about of, like, and I mean, like, even to talk about it, it sounds so trite, yet it's, like, hits you in such authentic feels watching it. So, like, it's not about if you win or lose. It's, like, how you're on the field. And that's, like, the most generic, like, 6-year-old, like, soccer talk that a coach will give you. But, like, when you're watching this, it's, like, profound. And I don't know how to explain how it does that. And that's how I felt. Like, I feel like basically how you feel listening to Park Seo-joon, like, talk up to Peakboy and really kind of, like, give him a sense of, like, everyone has their moment. Everyone's unique to contribute what they're going to do. And I mean, look, the thing is Peakboy is really successful. He's got, like, hundreds and thousands of Instagram followers. He's got a bustling career. It's just that, like, his best friends are the most famous people in the world, practically.
Right. I was like,
So it's like, it's not like Peakboy is, like, at home, like, digging, like, a ditch somewhere. Like, he's, like, a full celebrity. It's just, he's not Kim Taehyung. And so, anyway, watching Ted Lasso is a very good comp to how sometimes the Wooga Squad made me feel.
I love that.
So finally, for Wooga Squad, Leah came up with the idea to give everyone in the squad like a yearbook superlative. You can only assign one person to each category, so choose wisely. And the 5 categories are most likely to be a secret spy, most likely to sleep through an earthquake, most likely to survive the Hunger Games, most likely to be in a Beyonce video, and most likely to have a sex dungeon.
So, who do you all have for most likely to be a secret spy?
Hyung-sik.
So did I. That's why I had 2.
He's quiet and adorable.
That's why I said he's pretty, so either no one would suspect it or everybody would suspect it.
I put Park Seo-joon.
Oh.
Okay, so most likely to sleep through an earthquake.
We better all have Peakboy for this one.
Peakboy.
No, I've got Kim Taehyung.
Oh, but Peakboy was the snorer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
no,
was.
Park Seo-joon was a snorer.
No, it was Peakboy.
They thought it was Woo-shik.
Okay.
They thought it was Woo-shik, and then they realized it was Peakboy.
Peakboy's like, nope, it was me.
Woo-shik's like, I don't snore. He was like all offended.
He was like sleeping at half the time. I felt like V was always sleeping. Like, he's just always like curled
He's
up with
totally
someone
me.
with bedhead sleeping.
I love his bedhead. I love it.
Me too. Which I have bedhead all the time. So, most likely to survive the Hunger Games.
Park Seo-joon.
For me, it was a no-brainer. Park Seo-joon.
See, I chose Park Hyung-sik because I think that guy can do anything. I remember they said he's like really competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like the inner like demon in him comes out in competitive sports. So,
well, I like where we're going because I think we're going to have a tie eventually.
I think we are too for the last one.
So, okay, most likely to be in a Beyonce video.
I wrote V. Yeah, V.
Oh, see, I put Peakboy because he's like built like a redwood tree and he'd look super hot in a Beyonce video with his like swagger and his suits.
He would work too. I just think V would love. I bet he loves Beyonce.
And the dancing would be amazing.
Yeah.
And then all 3 of us most likely to have a sex dungeon.
Choi Woo-shik. with a hedgehog.
Oh my god.
Maybe with a halibut.
Oh my god. 5 halibuts. That he fished out of a cage.
Look, he's just...
He wants to change his image.
Look, he's just somebody that could get down, and I know
He could.
He's
okay.
Like, okay.
Yeah, no, we're moving on. We're gonna round things out tonight by sharing our first impressions of the drama that started it all, Hwarang. Asian Wiki describes the drama in pretty brief terms. The drama series depicts the story of Hwarang, literally flowering nights, an elite group of male youth during the kingdom of Silla. Like, that's it. That's all it has. And while this is true, having watched 6 episodes, so I can actually Asian Wiki, I can assure you that unlike Friendcation, there is an intricate plot going on here. I mentioned a love triangle earlier, but what I didn't share was that Park Seo-joon's character is masquerading for reasons as Go-ae-ra's long-lost brother, while Park Hyung-sik's character is the unrevealed king who everyone thinks is in hiding, except his mother, the queen, who either is afraid he'll be assassinated if she reveals him, or afraid of losing her power if she gives the seat of the throne to him. Both men have the hots for Ah-ro, who is Go-ae-ra's character, and Ah-ro has some very confusing feelings about her quote-unquote brother. Honestly, with how little I'd heard about this drama prior to falling for the Wooga Squad, I am surprised more people aren't talking about this, because if that's not a twisted premise that makes you want more, I don't know what is. So that satisfies my first impression. What do you two think, just based on episode 1?
So first off, I didn't realize how far we were going back in time. Like, we're going to the 3 Kingdom days, like 1,500 years ago. So that was a fun surprise. My other impressions were Park Seo-joon has porn hair, and I don't think I like it. I do miss the bowl cut. But the porn hair
changes when he's Hwarang, it changes.
Yeah, okay. Reasonable. But, like, the porn hair could grow on me. And I don't hate it as much as the Secretary Kim comma bang.
Oh, I love that.
Hyung-sik, however...
I loved his Secretary Kim hair.
Ugh, I didn't like it at all. Hyung-sik, though, like, damn, this boy can get it in his silk and headscarves. And I thought that Go-ae-ra, like you had mentioned, like, it was great that she wasn't, like, a damsel in distress. And I also appreciated that for historical, it felt kind of tongue-in-cheek and fun. And I don't mind having, like, kind of cast stuff, like the societal casts. Not in real life, of course, but in dramas, because I think it can be, like, leading to interesting and fun characterizations. So, yeah, overall, I will say I enjoyed it more than I expected.
Yeah, like, this was so fun. I actually just watched it today. Didn't have time to watch it before that. And I really didn't think I'd enjoy it this much. Like, Park Seo-joon is a blast. I really... Look, as much as I love Park Seo-wee, I love Park Seo-joon in this type of character, where he's, like, physically really dominant, but, like, he's also, like, a goober. Like, his Fight for My Way character, loved it. And I really liked Go-ae-ra in this role. I like that she's, like, sought out to tell these, like, sordid stories. Like, that's so fun. I love that. Yes. And I also like that she likes a strong drink. You know, I plan to continue watching, and that says something since it's historical. I will say, like, the historical accuracy looks terrible. I mean, they're almost in this, like, nightclub type thing.
Yes, there's, like, some definite, like, anachronism.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's, like, Japanese influences, and isn't this, like, before that? It's just very weird, right?
Amy kind of said it was a bit like A Knight's Tale, and I think that checks out.
I think that...
Yes, where there's, like, anachronistic elements.
Whoa. Yeah. I didn't even... Okay, I love A Knight's Tale, so that also might be why this is, like, hitting the buttons.
Yes.
I actually
because that's very tongue-in-cheek, too.
It is, and it's amazing. And
yes.
I actually really do love historicals that have those, like, weird, like, modern elements thrown in.
Yes.
I love that a lot. I just feel like it makes it not so serious,
Right. And there is some serious stuff, like
yeah.
You've only watched episode 1. Like I told Leah when I got to episode 2, I'm like, whoo, episode 2 took a dark turn. So there is some, like, big drama going on, too. So it's good. Like, it's not, like, I would say it's not like Cafe Minamdong, which is, it carries, like, the silly all the way through. Like, this has some funny moments, but it gets a little bit more serious as you go.
Okay. I like it, though.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. So speaking of, like, historical accuracy, there is a soccer/football type competition between 2 teams of Hwarang in episode 4. And I did look this up. I'm like, was there soccer in Silla? And there was. There was a game that is called Chuguk. So there is a game that shares like it doesn't really explain what the rules are, but it does share some characteristics with like soccer and football. So anyway, there's this scene. It's competition between two teams of Hwarang. And Park Seo-joon's character, what I didn't tell you guys and what I didn't show you is right before this scene, he's just learning the game. Like, he's just come into playing.
Oh, of course. But he's like
off the
excellent
street. At it. Well, no. He scores a goal for the other team and he thinks that he's amazing. Oh. And it's so funny. And everyone's like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this is his redemption. So Park Seo-joon's character makes a goal by literally running up the body of an opposing player as if the man is a ramp and then bashing the ball into the goal. I was so moved by this scene that I had to pause my TV, find the scene again on my phone so I could do a proper screen recording and share it with you two. Were you two as moved as I was by this scene?
I mean, I laughed. I totally laughed out loud. I mean, I personally want like a detailed explanation of the rules of this game, which is definitely like a cross between like soccer and football, but almost with a bit of like volleyball. Because he like hit it was like the weirdest
thing. Because he spiked it. He like spiked it into the goal.
Spiked it into the goal. So, you know, I mean, Park Seo-joon can of course do anything, and I'm always down for like a totally wacky fourth quarter point or whatever to win a competition. So, yeah, I loved it.
I just want to acknowledge first, before we get to the hot men, the music, because that was like some elevator music, if I ever heard it. But look, like, Park Seo-joon is physical to the max, and Hyung-sik looks like he needs to be thrown over my shoulder and hauled off to the nearest castle tower.
He is. Hyung-sik is beautiful in this.
He really
ridiculous.
He's startlingly beautiful.
Yes.
And I want to know who gave him like that wig, because it's a good wig.
It is a good wig.
And I also love Choi Min-ho from SHINee.
Yeah, he's great in this.
He's in this too. He is great. He is also gorgeous. And yeah, I mean, I will say the clothing of like in this, like the costume design, I love it. Yeah, I agree with you. It's like Knight's Tale-ish, and I'm now that you made that comparison, now I'm like, okay,
right?
I get it.
It's totally, it's like the modern elements in the historical and very tongue-in-cheek. It's good stuff.
I wonder if people didn't like that. Like, I wonder if it's really not bad, but people maybe didn't like that. Like, there are people who hate the Knight's Tale, and they don't, but then there are people who are like absolutely love it.
So
like
I used to teach British literature, and I would show that movie when we did Chaucer because. It's because so it's Chaucer. Like, that's the big part. It's Chaucer, like how he got his tales and stuff like that. And that was the Knight's Tale. So anyway, any final thoughts on In the Soop, Friendcation, or Hwarang, Wooga Squad?
Just that I intend to keep watching Hwarang. I'm really into it.
I am too.
Interested to see where it goes.
Honestly, I wish we could do like a Wooga Squad. I mean, look, they got paid money to do this, I'm sure. They didn't just like do this to do this.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, can we just bring the band back together like once a year and just kind of do it? And something else I wanted to just mention, because we didn't touch on it, was when they were driving and they're like, what are we going to talk about when we're 50? And they were like, and then they're like, I guess will we have things to talk about? First of all. And then secondly, like, I guess we'll just talk about our health and what we're eating and how we're going to survive. And I was like,
which is not untrue.
It's not untrue, but it's also not
like, I mean, true. Think about all the stuff we talk. None of us are 50, but like, think about all the stuff we talk about on here. Like, it's getting close to talking about health and food.
Yeah, but I'm like, what? Also, like,
right? They think it's old.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I was like, okay, like Woo-shik, like he's like what 33, so like, okay, that still seems like a pretty far away. But I was like, homie, this is gonna catch up with you real fast. Like, you're gonna be staring down 40. Barrel of a gun here, my friend, because I remember being 33 and that shit goes fast. So I was like, I want to do this like Wooga Squad like every year, kind of like keeping tabs, because it was funny to just watch them right now as like, but I do feel like there's a huge shift that happens between being in your 20s and moving into your 30s. I feel like for me, that was a much bigger shift mentally than moving from my 30s into my 40s. Like, I feel like everyone made a big deal about 40, and I was kind of like, 40 feels like 39 did. Like, I'm just busy all the time. Whereas, like, I remember 30, I was like, shit, I gotta get serious. Like, I'm a grown up now. So it's just funny to see, like, I would love to do, like, once a year. Like, I'm like, Hybe, pay to make Wooga Squad happen once a year.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
Cough it up.
Okay, really quick, just say it quick. What are you watching?
So I am watching Cafe Minimdong, which I am loving, and I'm also watching live If You Wish Upon Me by Ji Chang-wook. Look, I just gotta say, it's holding up, man. I'm 4 episodes in. I'm loving it. It's Ji Chang-wook back in his form, man. You know, I'm into it. I'm really, really loving it.
Yeah, I watched the first episode and I enjoyed, and I'm going to continue. But right now I'm not sure. Do I continue with that and try and catch up, or do I continue with Hwarang? Because now I'm on episode 7 of that. So I'm watching both of those. I finished Minimdong, so I'm caught up on the last 2 episodes that released this week.
And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I watched Attorney Woo and finished that. And right now I'm in I need to pick what I'm going to watch next. So I've had like a couple of days where, again, all I've been watching, well, I finished In the Soop because I had to watch like the last 2 episodes for this, and then Hwarang. And then, you know, we had like BTS come out with one of their shows. So I had to watch that. And now Min Yoon-gi has a, you know, live that he did. So I'm going to have to watch that. And then, I don't know, I'm going to decide what I'm going to watch. And I don't know. I feel like it could just be like anything, honestly, at this point. It could be the new Ji Chang-wook. It could be another Miss O. I've been wondering about My Liberation Notes because it looks hot. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's going to be one of those things where I'm just going to like sit down and just start something, and I don't know what it's going to be.
I have had those. Yeah, I've had those times plenty where you're just like,
you
know what?
It's exciting, but also frustrating because you want something that's going to grab you. What's it going to be?
Yeah, and look, I know I need to watch Ji Chang-wook and Cafe Minimdong for the pod, but I also feel like I've got a little bit of time, so I'm also like, if I don't feel like one of those, I've got time to just throw in like a wild card.
Heck yeah. No, if I could binge If You Wish Upon Me, the new Ji Chang-wook, I would. I'm very into it.
Okay.
I like it a lot.
That is it for tonight. This was super fun to talk about the Wooga Squad. I want them to do more and more of these. So yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed that they get to do it again and that they want to.
And I want a female Wooga Squad. Let's do it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!